Hello, everyone. Welcome. It is Wellness Wednesday, and look who I have here today, Miss Aley from Heart and Soul Connected.
Hi,
I am
everybody.
so excited to have Allie on as a guest. I know many of you know who she is already, but that's okay. There are some out there I know that may not know a lot about Allie. So, in a second, I'm going to have her introduce herself, talk a little bit about who she is, and about Heart and Soul Connected. But first, I would just want to say hello to some people. Hey, Sharon Sipe, nice to see you here. And of
Mm-hmm.
course, Ron, our dear big brother. Love you very much. And Janet P. Hey, Janet
Hi,
P.
Janet. Yeah. Hi,
So
everybody. It's good to see you.
I know some mothers will be jumping on as we get started here. There's Melinda, speak of. Hey,
Hi there.
Melinda, nice to see you.
Yeah.
So, Allie, go ahead and just tell us a little bit about you and
Okay,
then move in and tell us more about Heart and Soul Connected.
will do. So, geez, I'd like to think I could talk about something that I haven't talked about before that would be most interesting. I absolutely love this community. There's Sharon. Hi,
Here's
Sharon, Nancy,
Sharon
and there's
and
Sophie. Good. And
Sophie and
Teresa.
Teresa
Oh,
and
hi, everybody.
Arlene.
Arlene.
Hello.
Yeah, I'm glad you all are here, and my hellos to all others as well.
Yes,
Thank you for
Rochelle.
coming,
Hi.
Michelle. Yeah. So yes, I was pleased when Sonia invited me to come here, and I thought hard and fast about what I wanted to talk about as far as my wellness care, and I think this wellness chat that she does on Wednesday is just so important for us to learn the different ways that we can take care of each other. So I would say that I wasn't very good at taking care of myself in the past. And I will tell you, although I did take care of myself and I did do a lot of self-care prior to COVID, I would say that I probably really upgraded during that period of time because I had the time to do it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I felt very fortunate to have that time because I think before I was just running hither and yon and driving here and there, and it was just really nice to have that period of time off. So it was November of 2020 that I opened Heart and Soul Connected with my husband, who was on for a couple of shows. Then he got busy, and I said, "All right, I'll take care of it." And it was the best thing I ever did, honestly. I just kept plugging along and plugging along. And every time that you know, somebody said they went back and they watched one of my first videos, and that, you know, I was so, well, I was quieter. I don't know. And,
Yeah.
you know, I think you get more comfortable being um, on television or whatever we want to call it, you know, on
Right,
video
right.
after a while. And especially when we get to work with wonderful people that are readers or, you know, spiritual people like yourself, Sonia, and also our great subscriber base. So I am working on the Resilience Project right now with Cat Mama. So if anybody is interested in being interviewed, let me know. Send me an email. I have my weekly shows that I do with people, but I'm also working on a Taoism series, which I haven't done the third installment just yet.
Okay.
But it's just another part of finding a way to practice self-care. So,
That's
yeah,
wonderful.
yeah.
And I love that with Heart and Soul Connected, you also provide a platform to bring people on and for them to share
Oh,
information,
yeah.
in the spiritual community, which I think is just fabulous. So for those of you who may not know Allie and her channel, Heart and Soul Connected, please make sure that you do follow her. I put her information down into
Thank
the
you.
chat
Okay.
or in the description there.
Yeah.
So make sure that you check that out.
Hmm.
And so today, Allie is going to share with us about journaling and different ways that we can put this into practice for our self care. Because I know for me, journaling is key. I'm actually a little behind in doing some of my journaling,
Okay.
but I have journaling for different things. You know, I have
Yes.
one for my gratitude journal. I
Good.
also have a personal journal, and then
Hmm.
I have a dream journal, and
Good.
then I also have a journal for spiritual experiences. So these are
Good.
all different types of journals that I can refer to. It's good to go back to receive this information. But
Hmm.
how do you use your journaling? What do you do for?
Well, fortunately or unfortunately, I found this beautiful notebook company called Chic Sparrow back in 2017. And they make leather journals, and they are all out of Spokane. You do not need to have a fancy journal. You can just you can actually just use a notebook, one that a kid would use in school. It doesn't matter. It's the journaling that matters. But as time progressed, I found that I was attracted to these different journals, different sizes, and I use them for different reasons. Now, this one here is one that is not really a journal. It is my like a day timer.
Okay.
So this one here is one I would carry with me. I tried all different sizes and everything. I found this one would fit in a purse the very best.
Yeah.
So, and you can buy
lovely.
little trinkets to hang off of it, anything that you want, and pens and things like that. I began very simply, and then I decided to have a lot more fun. So, and unfortunately, I think at one point I owned 60 different sizes.
Wow.
They're not inexpensive, but I did end up selling some back, and now I just have the ones that I really love. Okay. So I have a lot of browns to show, but you can get blues, you can get different types of patina, you can get different types of if you want to have your credit cards, in here or whatever you want. This one I usually use like in the summer or the spring because it's a blue and it's my favorite color. But I want to tell you about my regular journal is a big journal. It is a 5x7 journal, and I buy the inserts to the journal, and then I do some work. I go in and put stickers in. I put in washi tape.
Oh, nice.
And sometimes I'll do a full spread out, but you can see that it's just basically writing in here. What I do every day has changed over time, but I absolutely love handwriting. I love to handwrite. Yeah. And they say that handwriting actually brings the thought from up here down through your hand into the, it's a real active thing. And I don't know how many of you know this, but I am a writing teacher. So that would make sense. But this type of writing is not writing that one does, to write a book or anything like that. It's just mostly my thoughts for the day. If I'm mad, I let that all out. If I'm happy, I certainly am, and more so am happy than sad. I also have this book called the Dao of Joy. And every day there's another section that I read, and then I write my reflection in here because I want to live that world. I also have a Science of Mind magazine, which is, I'm not necessarily religious, but I like having the prompts out of this one as well. Oh,
that's very nice.
Sharon likes cursive. I love cursive writing. I feel like our young people,
oh, they've lost it. It's a lost art. It's so sad.
It is a lost art. It's a lost art. It's awful.
I have to post what Ron wrote.
Okay. Oh,
I don't have a purse.
You can get a man purse.
There you go. There you go. One of those messenger bags, right?
That's right. You can get a messenger bag. Yes.
And I love Rochelle says that she has a dream in spiritual experiences.
Good for you, Rochelle.
Yep.
That is nice. It's also nice if you have that dream journal that you can go back and once you start reading it, you can really remember that dream. I've seen that happen many times, and it's nice because then you can also record it. Are any people in here that do a dream journal? Do you ever have dreams that are similar? Because that can show up too. So you're keeping track of it. So it's interesting. So some people might say, well, journaling, is that really self-care? We're not jogging, or we're not taking our vitamins, or we're not, whatever, taking a vacation. And I say there's a lot of benefits for it. I say there's a psychological benefit. And it helps you if you need to work out something. The other thing a lot of people do is they keep a tarot journal, or if they throw the cards. Yeah. And so they can pull up what they pulled. And another thing they can do is work on one card a week or one card every 2 weeks or something, and really focus themselves on that particular thing. You know, after a while, you get through all of them eventually.
And that's the beauty of it, because there are so many different ways that you can utilize a journal in your self-care, your self-growth. Another one I forgot to mention that I have is a channeling journal.
Ooh.
So
have you done automatic writing at all with it?
So it feels weird. I can't really explain it, but I think sometimes it is automatic. Sometimes it's just messages that I hear that I write down. And it gets tricky for me to decipher which is which. So
understood.
I try not to like figure it out. I just do it. So
just do it. Yeah. And that's really the key to all of it. A lot of people will say that this is even in my writing classes, a blank page is intimidating to people. Mm-hmm. They don't want to start something because they think, oh, what if I make a mistake? Or what if I write the word wrong? Or what if there is no you're the only one seeing it, unless you want to share it with somebody.
Right, unless you want to share,
yeah. There's not really anybody. The other thing you can do, if you did make a mistake, for instance, and you weren't happy with it, you can put all kinds of ephemera or different pictures into your journals, or you can use stickers. And some of these do not have sticker back, so you can buy this double-sided tape, and you stick it on and then pull the tape off and it sticks on, and you don't have that, regular Scotch tape look to it.
Right.
But you can cover up your mistakes if you need to.
So, there you go. Problem solved.
Problem solved. Absolutely.
I had a my sister-in-law. She's a writer, and I remember I was struggling with trying to write something, and it was blogging at the time. I had this blog, and I was doing blogs, and
good.
I got too much in my head though about it, and I just and I forgot the way she phrased it. It was brilliant, but her point was just write.
That's right.
Stop worrying about what it looks like. She's like, I'm a writer. I just write. Yeah. And you can go back and kind of clean it up and everything a little bit later. But when we get too much in our heads about the way it sounds or the way it looks, and did I use the right grammar, all of this other stuff, we get so hung up in that, and then we lose the thought process. So we do go with the flow.
Where was our train of thought? Now it's gone because we've been too busy focusing on having it perfect.
Exactly.
And actually, Annie Lamott, if you're familiar with Annie Lamott, she writes this really wonderful story that I have my freshmen read, and it's called Shitty First Drafts. And
I love
and it's like just let it go. Of course, these are for more formal papers or essays or whatever, but it could be for anything. It could be for just writing in your journal. And the other thing is Julia Cameron, who is a beautiful woman. She has a thing called Morning Pages, and she's had this out since, I would say, the early 80s. And she suggests every morning you get up and you write, and I think for 6 or 7 long page composition size pages. And she said, I don't care what you write. You can say, I don't know what to write about. I'm not sure what I should write about. I don't really know, until you get that flow going. But that it's so much better by doing it with your own pen and paper than typing it, because you're really more involved in the work. It's a physical action, even though typing it's less physical, when you're just touching the keys. But when you're writing, usually cursive as well. Yes, The Artist Way, Janet.
I love that. Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
Perfect.
It's a great book. And hi, Connie, and hi, Jaleesa. Yeah, it's good to see you.
Yeah, and Gina snuck in here. Hi, Gina.
Oh, Gina. Hi, everybody. Oh, it's good to see you all. That's great.
So, Aley, what made you decide to be a writer? When did you first get into writing, and how did you get started?
English was always one of my better subjects. And so in my freshman year of high school, they were trying to recruit people to write for the college newspaper. And I started writing some poetry, and it was a pretty tough time in the world when this was all going on. We were still fighting in Vietnam. We had a lot of hippies, and my brother was in Vietnam as well. And we had a lot of different tragic things to write about, but also, you're all involved in love and finding the right one and all that stuff. So I started writing, and I was writing these poems, and I didn't want to put my whole name down because my mother's name was Alice and my real name is Alice Lee. And I decided to change my name to Aley, as it was my pen name, that was what I was going to do. And it stuck. And I'm the one who named myself that. And that's where that stuck. So,
oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, it was most interesting. I'm not a grammatarian at all. I don't like, there's a lot of grammar Nazis out there that, very picky about what I don't really, if I see something blatant, I'll bring it up. But I think part of that has to do with the fact that I want people just to let go and write and then go back and fix if they have to fix it. But yeah, that started it. And then when I went to college, I was an English major, dropped out my senior year with 18 credits left or something. And then I got married, had a baby, and then I went back to school. 11 years after I was going to graduate, I graduated. And so,
wonderful.
It was always something I wanted to do, just like teaching was. So I would write whenever. I didn't have journals then, but I did have journals when I was in high school. And so I just took a break. Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
We had my other half of Soul Sisters here, EQ, Love and Light EQ. Hello, hello.
And hi, Joe.
Hey, Joe. Welcome.
It's good to see you. Yeah.
So what made you want to start journaling? How did you get into that?
Once it was very interesting for me because my daughter had journaled for years and years using she would buy the journals that you get at the bookstore, the real pretty, different, pretty ones. And I decided I wanted to journal. And then I decided I wanted to journal and enjoy the sensory experience of the leather and the paper and the pen smell and all the little crafty things you could do. So it was about 2017 that I started writing every day. And as time progressed, I had different things show up. And one of them was this journal that I specifically bought that says the word on here, Mezpa. And this one is a tribute to all those that I love that have passed. And it's all the memories I've had of my mom, my dad, my brother, my friends, all of that. And I would say, I don't see this very often, which is really good news. Because then, you don't, but I've lost animals and so when I have it's bittersweet when I use this journal, but at the same time, it was one of those things that I just felt I needed to get. Another one that I got was because I absolutely love the fall, because as you know, it was my birthday. And so I got autumn leaves here, and
so pretty.
I got it's all decked out. And I just use this one every fall, and then I put it away and I bring it out, and so it's maybe.
Well, that's fun. I like that.
Yeah, we'll have several years, and I have Christmas ones too. I have a green one and a red one. So yeah.
How fun. There is something really special about buying a journal that you can connect with.
Absolutely.
And as Aley mentioned, it doesn't have to be anything really pricey. I've gone to Staples because now they have those, remember those what are those called? Those black and white books. What are they called? The compilation.
Oh. I know what you're talking about. It's
help me out in the chat here, guys.
Yeah.
Compilation or something like that, journals or books.
Yeah.
But now they have them all decorative.
Oh,
so
yeah.
They have different things. Thank you, Connie. Composition.
Thanks, Connie.
They have different, scenes and everything else. And those are a few dollars. So you can, you don't have to make a major investment. Yeah.
And if you don't have it, I think if you wait till school year, just before the kids go back to school, you can go and get, 5 or 6 of those school composition books for, $2 or something, how Walmart has that.
Yeah,
so it does not have to be anything special. They also have, I have a couple of things called junk journals. I don't know if everybody knows what a junk journal is.
No, what's a junk journal?
But a junk journal is, you buy kits if you want, that have different themes, like Halloween or this or that. You can get them on Etsy, but you also keep things that you have that you would normally throw away as junk, and like cutting out pictures out of the magazines, or you could put words in there, or you could put in if you went to a restaurant and you got a matchbook, or I don't know if they even give them out anymore. You take it and you put that in. I will say that when I was growing up, I did scrapbooks all the time.
I was going to say, it sounds a little bit like scrapbooking.
Well, it is. Yeah. That's what a junk journal is. But I ended up at one point throwing all my scrapbooks out because, how long do you keep something like that? I just didn't, I just moved so many times, but I enjoyed doing it at the time. And I used to go back and go through it and say, oh, I remember this, this experience, that experience. So it's a lot of fun to do if you have time to do it, and it doesn't have to be perfect like scrapbooking, where you have pictures and you have to have the right, it isn't any of that. It's just fun.
That sounds like fun. I kind of like that.
It is. And there's another one called a commonplace journal. And I think it's where people put quotes, lovely words that they like, lyrics. Just it's more of a word journal, but you could even put recipes in there, your mother's old this cake recipe or whatever it is. And it's meant to be a commonplace thing that would last after you were gone. Maybe you pass it along to your children or your grandchildren, and you say, here's some things I thought about. And my grandmother had one, and I found it. And I didn't even know her. I know. I did not know my grandmother. They were all dead before I was born. And she had a list of things that she made, knitted for the babies in the family, and how much yarn she had to have and how much money it cost. It was just cute. It was very cute.
Yeah, that's very special too, though.
It is special.
Very special. I just want to share here. Connie says that she's on her chapter 9 of her manuscript rewrites.
Ooh, Connie.
That's exciting,
awesome.
Connie.
I know. Wow.
And then Sophie said that she started a bullet journal and it turned into a catch-all journal. Made many mistakes, so I smashed it.
Those bullet journals are really cool. But every time I started a bullet journal, they have these little, I want to say where you can draw different things in, like when you're a kid, you draw an A and it helps you to draw it. What do you call those? Oh, God, I hate that.
I forgot what they're called. I know. Yeah.
Losing our mind. Anyway, and it was sloppy. It looked sloppy, but, I think that a lot of people like that. They just want to bullet what they have to do, or bullet what they did, or bullet their gratitude or whatever. So they don't want to write in cursive or write in paragraphs. They just want to bullet it. And that's perfect. So
it's Sophie, like whatever feels good, right?
Whatever feels good. So maybe a bullet journal isn't a good journal for you. Maybe you need to have one with lines in it or something. Yeah.
Sharon says, congratulations for completing your degree after such an absence. So
thank you. Yeah, that was, and then so that was 88. And then in 99, I got my first master's. And in 2009, I got my second master's, because I just love to go to school, spend money. But I promised, interestingly enough, Sharon, I promised my mother. She was so upset that I dropped out of school, and then I got married. And I didn't drop out because I was pregnant, but I ended up getting pregnant a year after I got married, and so I didn't go back until later. So my mother was so happy that I was going to graduate. I sent her a graduation announcement. I was going to graduate on May 15th or something. And I got my announcements, and I sent them out on April 15th or 20th or something. So my mother got it, and she was dead by the 30th. So at least she knew. Mm-hmm. She knew before she died that I did finish, because it was a promise I absolutely made that I would.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
It's sad that she missed it, but she didn't miss it.
Yeah. She knew. She was there with you in spirit. You know that. EQ said, loves your journal. Wonderful journal. The ones that you just showed there.
Thank you.
And I
Connie,
want to, oh, go ahead.
no, that's all right. I just saw a comment by Connie what the name of her manuscript is, The Ghost of Red Sands of Surviving the Bureau of Indian Affairs Residential Dormitory.
Oh, wow.
That sounds fabulous. That sounds like something I'd like to read.
That's
and
wonderful.
I know that Connie is I think she's an English teacher in Arizona. Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, sorry to interrupt.
Keep us posted, Connie. No, I was just going to say, if anyone has any questions as Aley is sharing, please don't hesitate to put it in the chat so we can get that answered for you. That's great. I see that Vivian has joined us. Hi, Vivian.
Hi, Vivian. Yeah. It's good to see everybody. Yeah.
That's great. Saw something here. Let me see. Oh, yeah. A couple people mentioned like the Dollar Tree or the dollar store. They have journals as well too. You can get those from there. So that's,
which reminds me, washi tape is the tape that you use in your journal if you want to. This is all, your choice. I always put it here. Or sometimes I'll do it across the bottom, but I pre-do it. A lot of people don't. My girlfriend, she does this with me. She's in another part of the country, but she does it and she waits and her page is completely, she starts it as the day goes on. I probably have 600 rolls of washi tape, honest to God.
Oh, wow. What type of tape? What is it called?
It's called washi tape, and it's, you can find it in Walmart. And this one here is you could buy in Walmart for like $2.99.
Okay.
See how it comes in different rolls. And I have a lot of fall rolls because I like the leaves.
Oh, that's
and
pretty.
You can get all different kinds, honestly, all different. And you can even get them that have like check marks and all that stuff if you want to.
Yeah,
it's fun. But yeah, the washi tape, you go to Michael's, they have a sale once in a while. And so does Joann's or
and Hobby Lobby.
Hobby Lobby.
Connie said.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So Connie has a question, and it is, what do you do for writer's block?
I've never really experienced writer's block. I'll be honest with you. But I am one of those people, if I have to, like when I had to do a paper and I had to write it, I would start a class, let's say in college, and they'd say, this is going to be due in 6 weeks or whatever. I'd start it that night and I'd start working on it. So I will say that I think the best advice that I got from anybody about writer's block is just, as we said, just power through it if you can. If that means that you have to, or, you can also look for prompts. That's the other thing. There's lots of books out there with writing prompts in them. And sometimes there's groups that are out there that also do them. So for instance, let's say it was for Halloween, somebody might say, what's your favorite Halloween candy? And what was your favorite costume you had when you were a kid? What were you dressed up as or something? So there's a prompt for you to get going. So I would say that if you feel like you just don't know where to go, that, and I showed the books, the Dao book, because I feel like that's a prompt. It's a prompt to get me to think about what's being said. But yeah, don't beat yourself up. I also tell my students, go outside, take a walk, go get a bowl of ice cream, watch Oprah or whatever, and come back to it if it's really bad. Because
sometimes you just have to change up that energy.
Change it up. Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Release.
Release.
release, and then come back and try it again. See if that helps.
Yeah. I don't always go to Hobby Lobby. I don't do that either, Connie, because they are they're the same as Chick-fil-A, and they don't like gay people, and they don't like, they're very I know what it was. They wouldn't allow their people to have birth control pills in their health care. So I understand. I do. Yeah. I don't like any of that.
Connie says, I'm going to start journals for seventh graders with writing prompts. Yeah.
That's perfect. Good. Honestly, you get them, as you well know, Connie, not telling you anything you don't know, but anybody else, if you get people to read early and you get people to write early and enjoy it and love it and get something from it, it's very rewarding, and you'll find that they'll continue to do it. And then they're like, oh, I can look at this, in 20 years or whatever, and really have a good life. Or, how I was, especially with bullying and social media.
So true. So true.
Yeah.
I know my daughter, when she was in her senior year, and I'm happy she had this to look forward
Mm-hmm.
to because,
Mm-hmm.
COVID took out her entire senior year. So she had no prom, no graduation, all of that
Oh,
rite of
oh,
passage stuff,
right,
right? But
right.
what they did do before COVID hit, they wrote a letter to themselves, to themselves about
Yeah.
their senior year and just kind of like where they were, where they see themselves. And she
Yep.
got the letter at the beginning of this summer. And for her to get that from a year later and
I
how much
know.
the world has changed, right? But she
Uh-huh.
got her letter, but it was just such a wonderful keepsake and it felt good. Kind of like those time capsules, I guess
Yeah,
they would
it
kind
is
of
like a
call it
time
type of thing.
capsule. Yeah.
And I think that's a fun thing
Oh,
for people to do with students.
absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, I'm having my freshmen in college. They're doing their first paper as a memoir, and a slice, which is a slice of their life. And I said, maybe it was your graduation, maybe it was a prom, maybe it was a trip, maybe it was whatever. I said, but if you can't think of anything, then tell me what happened. How did your life change from COVID and the lockdown and last year and this and that? And um, I think it's interesting sometimes what I get from some of these kids. Like I had this kid write a paper and he was on a skateboard being pulled by a car by a rope, and the rope broke and he broke his ankle or something like that. And he's
Oh.
telling me all this. And he said, my parents didn't know what happened. I told them it was this. And I'm like, and you're writing a paper, that's a little daring there, if you don't want them to
Right.
find out. That's so funny.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, I think too, I think that's the beauty of writing, that it
Yeah.
just really does bring out the emotions. It helps you to express yourself.
Right.
Express yourself in ways that you may not be able to say things verbally, or maybe feel nervous
Hmm.
about saying things verbally. So you can
Hmm.
just kind of write it down because that journal's for you, like your diary.
Right.
I had
It
diaries when
is.
I was young, just
It is
writing my
like a
inner
diary.
personal thoughts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a woman that's on my page where people talk about different writing things. And she has a journal that she and her husband use, and they write love letters or letters to each other in it. And so she'll write something and give it to him, and then he'll write whatever and give it back to her. And they just do this back and forth. So there's so many ways you can use it. It's just
I
amazing.
love that.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
know another method, which I actually did myself once, was someone that you're very upset with, but
Uh-huh.
you may not be ready to confront them or to deal
Correct.
with the situation. So
Hmm.
writing a letter to that
Right.
person of
But
all
it's even
your,
more powerful after you've written it to burn it.
yep,
So this wouldn't be a journal probably, but although
no,
you could
yeah,
certainly put it in a journal, it's up to you. Yeah. Yeah.
yes, absolutely.
Very
And
difficult.
speaking of burning, I don't want to forget Happy New Moon to everyone. It is the new moon
Yes.
in Libra. So this is a great time for you to set intentions, maybe to start journaling if you're not.
Hmm.
But whether it's new moon or full moon, I like to burn whatever I'm setting out
Yes.
there. And for the
Yes.
new
Absolutely.
moon, I like to plant what I burn, my ashes, into the dirt. So if you have a
Wonderful.
yard, or I do it in my plants,
Uh-huh.
and then full moon, because I'm releasing, I just flush that down the garbage disposal.
There you go. There you go. Or the toilet, as long as it's not a
Yeah,
church.
yeah, exactly.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah, Connie's saying that she should do that for her seventh graders and
Yeah,
have them open it up when they promote to ninth grade. Yeah,
absolutely.
great.
Because 2 years makes a huge difference. Junior high is not an easy time, whatever it's middle school or junior high. I often say I don't want to be reincarnated again because I don't want to have to live through junior high again because it was so horrible. But,
Yeah,
not everybody has that experience. But yeah, there would be great growth between the time they went to your class and they get to high school. Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
Um,
So,
what suggestion would you have for someone if they are writing their journals? Like, what are some ways that you've gone back and looked at things that you've written? Do you
um,
have a process for that, or you just go back and
I
look?
do, but what I found most interesting that I did was um, I don't do it as much. I have like 500 of them in a bag. Honest to God,
Wow.
I do. I have them. Um, but what I did do was my dad wrote a diary for 30 years, and every Christmas I gave him a diary for that next year coming up. And so what I did was I pulled out a year of his diaries. Every day I went to a different year, and I went to what happened on that day in that year, and I read
Oh,
that. And what I really liked about it was, although I wasn't a sole child, my brothers were much older, so I was like an only child in a lot of ways. And so he would mostly write about what was happening, you know, the weather. That's what my father was always interested in. Oh, it rained today, you know, or it snowed. But he also wrote about different things like, oh, you know, Ally's doing this and that, and her friends all came over and they did that. And I'm like, wow, I'm so glad I had, and because I inherited them after he passed.
okay.
So I would take that and I would say, today, my dad, back in 1967, my dad said this, or I would pull like a Christmas, see what happened on Christmas or Thanksgiving of that year or whatever. I have had some experiences where I don't remember something and when it happened, but I know the month or I know the year, and I'm really glad that I've written it down, because it was something that I would want to remember. And, you know, it isn't something that I selectively, you know, would want to forget. But yes, I don't know if I'm going to end up burning all my journals when I, you know, or my kids are going to end up going, oh, what am I going to do with all this, you know? Or, you know, I don't really write anything negative in there. Not really. If I get upset with somebody, I might say, oh, I'm upset with so-and-so today. But, you know, it's one day out of 300 or something, you know.
Right.
So
Yeah, I've often wondered that, because I did go back. I had some really old journals from when I was younger, and went back and one day spent the time writing, you know, reading what I wrote. And but I just was curious to see if there was a process or something that you did, because some of them I haven't even touched. But I love that idea of going back to certain dates to see what happened.
What were you doing? Yeah,
that's
even if it was in your own journal. Like what happened on Christmas 2017? I don't remember everything that happened, but I could go back and read about it. Yeah.
Fantastic. I love
Connie
that.
said I better keep them, huh? Okay.
Yeah.
You know, Connie, you say you wish your ancestors had done this. So let me tell you this little tidbit, because this is amazing. My dad was gifted a journal that a cousin had written in, and he converted it to typing at the time. But it was a cousin that lived like in Rhode Island and moved to Colorado. And it was, 18 something. And it's amazing. It's not too exciting to read because the writer wasn't that great and there was really nothing that happened. But the fact that we have this journal from this man moved out to Colorado and everything, the best thing that came out of that journal was that when you stopped at a rooming house or a boarding house, or because you're taking a wagon over or a train or whatever, and you got to stop and go to sleep. When you stay in a bed, you pull the sheet back like this, and it's black and greasy. The sheets are black and greasy because they never changed the sheets.
Oh,
because they didn't have a washing machine or a dryer. Probably.
Right.
And probably everybody climbed into there with their clothes on. You know, they didn't strip naked or anything, I'm assuming. And, you know, you got dirt and all that grit from riding along. And I don't know. I just thought that was so interesting. But we really felt fortunate that we had that. That was amazing. Yeah. That was amazing.
Yeah. Can you imagine going to check in a Marriott somewhere and you pull your sheets back?
It's bad enough sometimes you don't know for sure if they've washed them, but you know, they at least they're not black and greasy.
No, thank you. Oh my goodness. What's this? Melinda says, maybe they will look like you did with your dad, Aley.
Maybe they will. You know, our children are wonderful children. You know, we all have wonderful children. They're our children, so we love them. But there's a period of time that our children don't have too much to do with us, certainly in the 20s, sort of. And they don't realize a lot of things until they're much older. But even when they get older, then they have their family, their house, their job, so they don't see us as much. And I often thought, between my writing and my shows on YouTube that possibly will be there for them to see. They'll see what they missed.
Oh, that's true. Very true. Very
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
So
Uh-huh.
Gina has a question.
Okay.
What's the difference, in your opinion, between a diary and a journal?
Everything is tailored to your own needs, wants, and desires. I just want you to know that. So there's no hard and fast here. But my father did a diary, which was a page a day. But there are other diaries that are like 5 years and there's a paragraph a day or something like that. And I would say that a lot of people do a diary and they, like my dad probably, oh, the weather was this, paid this bill, or even like my grandmother, I bought this yarn, I did this, I did that, whatever it is. But it wasn't like feelings. I don't sense that, because I think a journal is more about, well, you can write down, I did this, I did that, that's fine. But a journal is a personal space where you can express how you feel about things. And like Sonia has a gratitude journal, and she uses that to express her gratitude for things. And that's bringing yourself into union, I guess, with your spiritual side. Mm-hmm. So I think that, there are different reasons for different kinds of writing. And everybody makes their own mind up the way they want to do it. But it seems like a diary is more hard and fast, I guess, is the best way to say it. I did this, a checklist, like a bullet journal. Whereas a journal with longhand writing, and again, you do not have to do what I do. You don't have to put any fancy things in, or you can also use stamping. I don't know if you've used stamps before.
Oh yes,
you find those in like Joann's. But see, with this one here, you see, I have. I get real fussy with the way I write when I get really mad at myself if I don't take my time, and I go through more pens. So I have to buy the pens that have sometimes I go through 5 or 6 pens a week because I write hard. I like it to stand out, but there are different types of paper, and some paper or lighter touch works better than others.
That's true.
So yeah.
I never really knew the significance of pens. I had a friend that was obsessed with pens, and I never understood her obsession until one day she gave me one, and she was like, "Here, try this." And I wrote with it. It was like butter.
Yeah. Was it one of those with the nib on it, or was just a regular nice pen?
I think it was just she bought, she likes to get them in the fancy boxes where she pays, quite a bit for it. But I forgot the name of it. But it just was so interesting because, for me, I was like, whatever, I go buy a box of pens. And I mean, even some of them now, I kind of prefer the fine point kind of pens. And but I'm kind of into the feeling of it now. Now I may not buy like the real expensive ones that she did, but still I do enjoy a way it feels.
I mean, I love this pen. This is a Kawiko, and it writes beautiful, like butter, like you said. It just it flows really nice. I like the gel pens better than, but I also like, it depends. I might like a fine point today. I might like a gel pen tomorrow. I might have a smaller pen. And then, of course, you've got all these wonderful markers that you can use, if you want to start out a new month, and you can use your markers and stuff. But again, all of this is not obligatory. This is just your choice of how you want to do it. If you just write it in a regular one.
Hi, Nancy. Nancy popped in. Connie says she's a pen thief.
A lot of people are. Oh, and you know what? If I go out the door, Connie, I don't take my good pens, or I'm a pen lost person. I'll just put it down somewhere, and somebody's got a really nice pen, and they don't know who it belongs to, so it's theirs. Yeah. But there's another whole group of people that use the pens with the nibs on it. I make a mess. I make splotches and things like that.
Those are the ones, when you say with the nibs, is it kind of like a little round point at the
it's like a round point, and you have to suck up the
oh, okay, yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's beautiful, and I've seen a lot of people who go to pen shows and pay $500 or $600 for pens. I mean, I've never done that. That's not me, but I see them practice cursive with these pens, and they put them like on Instagram or whatever, and they will take a quote from something, and they'll do that with their fancy penmanship, and it's gorgeous. There's a whole
Wow.
subset of people out there
Yeah.
that go to pen shows and buy the inks and do it that way. Kind of fun.
Sophie says that she has close to 500 pens for her journal. So her 500 pens will match your 500 journals.
There you go. Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's a lot.
absolutely. It is. It's. I think I honestly feel like I go over the top. So yeah.
Yeah, I don't quite. I'm trying to think how many journals I have. I would probably say I have maybe around 30. I'm thinking somewhere around there.
See, I would fill a whole book like this, which is 192 pages.
Yes.
But remember, front and back.
Right.
192 pages in a month.
Wow. That's incredible.
And yeah, I put sometimes there'd be a page that would have, some ephemera, they call it ephemera on it, which is like, maybe I want to put this on the page and then make a little fancy thing with it or whatever, or put stickers on it, or, definitely the washi tape. It just all has become this hobby, I guess. I mean, the writing has always been there, but this other stuff is stuff that I just have found enjoyable for me. And that and coloring, I love. Coloring books. I could just sit and mindlessly color all day. So
that's wonderful. Well, I mean, as you started out talking about self-care, this is all about it, that process, because now you're tapping into creativity as well.
Absolutely.
And that's another whole experience and feeling, along with the writing, that you're bringing those all together.
Yes, absolutely. It's and sometimes we'll be watching a movie, and I can't be just watching a movie. Sometimes I have to color, I'm watching it, I'm listening to it, and I'm in a Zen state. It's fabulous. And, I don't get to do that as often as I'd like to do it because I'm busy with everything else.
Right.
So and some people find that with cooking, some people find that with, whatever it is that they're sewing, and for me, it's writing and it's keeping up a journal. It's became, though, an obsession sort of for me, with all this other stuff that I've added to it. But can't go anywhere without it. I have these little bags that I can put all my stuff in, my kit, and I buy all these pins. Give me a break. I mean, I just go a bit overboard, but I guess that's what you get.
If you're having fun.
Lady. Yeah.
As long as you're having fun, that's all that matters.
That's right. That's right.
Sophie says that she actually throws her journals away when done, and now be thinking and maybe keeping some of them.
Good. Yeah. Or you could just you could set aside one of your journals as just like a brain dump. Have you ever heard of that? A brain dump is, you have to write it down because you'll forget, and of course dreams and things like that. Or, you might have a journal that you write all your secret thoughts in, and you can get rid of that one if you choose to, and then save some of the other ones. Yeah.
I love I actually call it mind dumping, brain dumping, same thing. But I like to do it either right before I go to sleep, because when you go to sleep, right, that's when the brain's like, blah, 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 blah. So I'll just quickly write it all down so I can release it and go to sleep, or first thing when I get in the morning, because sometimes I get in that space of overwhelm with everything that needs to be done for the day. And it's something about, I don't know, it's just magical putting it down on paper, whatever it is.
With dream journals, you have the journal by the bed. You do not step your foot on the floor. You write your dream down. Then you can go about your business, but you'll forget it. If you get up.
You will. Yep. Done that too.
I know.
Janet says the universe has such a way. This last weekend, I had decided to stop making and binding journals because everything is so digital now.
Janet, you make and bind journals?
Wow.
That's beautiful. There's a woman that I have followed over in England that does it. And they're very expensive journals because it's the paper is cut in a certain way, um, and but they're beautiful journals. And you can also, there are some people that use blank ones to put watercolors, paint and other things they use as an art journal. Janet, you need to, you know what, I think it is an unusual thing that we are all digital now. I mean, it's great, but it isn't great. It's the same with writing. I used to do income taxes, and people would come in and sign their income taxes with cursive writing. And now, the last couple of years that I did it, they come in and they print their name, and anybody can print a name, So it's like a lost art.
It really is. She says, yes, her latest is a spiritual guide journal. Now
I
that
love
I would be
that.
interested in, Janet.
Yes. Yes.
Um, and even though it is somewhat of a lost art, I think a lot of people are kind of getting back, especially during this quarantine
Yes.
period, the quarantine that we're somewhat not coming out of. But I think people have been looking for different things to do, and so they're reconnecting with themselves. They're reconnecting to just being more present. And
Absolutely.
I think this would be great. It's just about you really kind of putting it out there to the right groups of people. But
Right.
I still think that I love them. I love looking and finding new journals and different things. So yeah.
Yeah. It was interesting because when I first started in 2017, I would carry my journal with me everywhere because I wanted to, when I had a free moment at school or whatever, I would write whatever I wanted to write. And I started to notice some of the young girls in the class coming in with journals. Now, they weren't exactly like mine, but they came in with journals, and they'd say, I noticed you have a journal. It was great. It was almost like, yes, you have to carry it with you because you don't know when you're going to. And at some point, I ended up leaving a journal in my car because if I didn't remember to bring one, what am I going to do if I got something to write?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, Janet says that it actually came to her in a dream after Susan Lynn's reading.
Oh, that's wonderful, Janet. Wow. Awesome. Yeah. I like that. Very good. Yeah.
Sophie says bullet journaling has become a thing over the past few years and has evolved into art journaling.
That's very true. You hear less necessarily about the bullet journaling, and more about the art journaling. And also there are people with books out on different spreads you can do in your journal, different ways that you can, make it more artistic. Or there's a woman, Helen Coleman, and she's over in England as well. And she has books on different layouts. I mean, it's a whole industry. It really is. But I never knew that before until I was involved in it. Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, Greeter.
Hi, Greeter. It's good to see you. Yeah.
And Tiara's here as well.
Yeah. And Tiara. Yeah.
So this is all really fascinating information. And I like the idea that there is so many different ways that you can utilize your journal for. But I think, thank you for that, Gina. I always forget to say these things. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up, everyone.
Very important. Yeah.
Thank you, Gina. But I think that's the important message here for everyone too. It's that there's no script to
there's
this.
No rules.
There's no rules. Yep. You do what feels good to you. If you want to decorate your journal, go for it. If you don't, no. If you want to separate your journals like we do, great. If not, you don't have to.
Right. And a lot of people have an issue with trying to figure out the size. It's very interesting. In this particular, they're not sure if they want to have one that's this big. Would they be able to fill it? Or should it be more of this size? There's just a whole bunch of different sizes. And if you buy these kind of journals, but it could be the same thing for the insert, even if you don't have a cover on it, which size are you happiest in? So sometimes you have to find journal piece,
That's a good point. Yes. Yes. Yep. So Connie wants to know, how do you do a writing activity for the purposes of letting go of stuff?
Connie, do you mean letting go of physical things or emotional things? Or I guess it could be either one. One of the things that I feel really strongly about, even though I haven't been practicing it for the last couple of years, is that you have to release a lot of things in order to make room for other things to come in. I do it really well with clothing to Goodwill or wherever, but I don't necessarily do it with a lot of other things that I have. And I think that's an important thing. I think that I would say that you might want to look at what it is that you want to release, whether it's something physical or something
She said
emotional. Both. Okay,
both.
that's what I thought. Yeah. It is what benefit would it be for you to release it, and what is it that you what is the reason for it, you know, in your own mind, and maybe even take some steps to make that happen if that's the case. For instance, I said to my husband the other day, I'm bordering on becoming a hoarder, and I don't want to be a hoarder because I've seen those awful shows, you know, because I ended up, you know, I find something I really like and then I can't get enough of it. So I've got probably about 60 tarot cards, and some of them aren't open yet. And it's like, I don't think I want to open them. I want to get rid, you know, sell them. I want to get rid of them or give them to somebody. And the purpose is that I don't need all that. You know, I don't need to have that many. The ones I really feel connected to, I are the ones that I need. With regard to emotion I think that you know, the shadow stuff, write about that, what it is that you'd like to get rid of, that you feel is not being beneficial to you in this time period, or what you'd like to work on. And then you can go back to it and see how your progress is, I guess. And you're the only one seeing it. So you're the only one that can choose that. Yeah.
Connie says a lot of her students have lost family members to COVID. Yeah.
There's got to be, a mass. I guess they just had something in Washington, D.C., but there has to be a mass reckoning and a release of all these beautiful people. And I would say that, I don't know if they can write about it. It's very difficult because you don't know what their emotional, you know, the balance is, especially for seventh graders.
Yeah.
Or even,
they're young.
Yeah, they're young, too young.
Yeah.
But yes, Connie, I'm thinking about doing a drawing on my channel with some of these tarot cards. Exactly.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah, I'm almost up to 2,000 subscribers, and actually I'm within 10. So once I get 2,000, I will. I'll probably do one. Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be a great idea.
It would be.
You know, and Connie, for releasing too, mentioned it earlier, this is more of a ceremonial type of process of with the full moon, was releasing, then writing it down and burning and disposing of. So that's another way of releasing emotions or things that are no longer serving you in your life, to do it that way. But you got to love those big clutter release days. I need to do another one, actually.
We all do. We all do. But you know, the other thing is, and I think Sonia will agree with me, whenever you're doing your full moon or new moon prayer release, whatever, there is no wrong way to do it.
No.
Just like this writing, you know, you are the one that determines what ceremony you want to create, and your intention will overshadow any kind of feeling that you're doing it wrong, because there's no wrong. There's just no wrong.
There isn't. I actually went online and I looked at how different people were doing their ceremonies, and then hello,
good old cone of shame. Yep.
Oh, poor baby.
I know.
But yeah, I just went with what resonated to me, what felt right, what felt good. And, you know, when people ask me about it, I'll share with them, but I'm like, this is my way, you know, I mean, do what feels right for you, what feels good.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
Definitely. No, and you know, the same with bringing your crystals and stuff out to have a moon bath or whatever it is what you should do, whatever feels like right to you. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so we are at the top of the hour here. Any last minute burning question? I just want to make sure everyone gets their questions answered. So
Mhm.
excited that Aley was able to join us today to share all this valuable information.
Thank you. It was my pleasure.
Yes,
I
thank you
didn't
so
know if
much.
we would be able to really have a full hourly discussion because, at some point, but it seems like whenever we get on a roll, whenever we're on a roll in a show, it just seems to flow. So
It
that's what
does. It
yeah,
does. And it goes by faster than you think
it
sometimes. So
does.
I mean, I was
It
just like, oh, okay. We're at
does.
the hour.
It does. Yeah,
All
definitely.
right. Well,
Thank you. And
you're
thank
very
you all in the
welcome.
chat. I appreciate all your wonderful comments and questions.
Yes, thank you, everyone. And I will be on again this Friday morning at 8:30 a.m. Pacific time for Coffee Chat, collective readings for the
Cool.
Oracle. And when are you on again, Aley? Just so I know.
I've got an interview that I'm doing with Liz, who is a tarot reader this week, and I'm doing an awful lot of these what do you call it? And Kim tomorrow too. But I'm doing the interviews for the resilience. I'm sorry, my brain.
That's
For
okay.
the resilience in the times of COVID and
Okay.
fascism. I'm doing that as well. Some of the
Wonderful.
interviews. Yeah.
All right.
Like
So
with
everyone.
Melinda and a few other people in the chat, actually.
Oh,
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Thank you again, everyone, and enjoy the rest of your Wednesday night. And we'll see you all later.
Thank you. Bye,
Bye bye.
everybody.